No, I wouldn't want to be good at that. That's not a good skill to have since the matchup is very hard.
Yeah, Nicholas Malatesta on the left, and the Death and Taxes Disruption just does not offer much against what Elves does.
Somehow Nick is at 3. Shiels at 15. Shiels has 2 ports in play. Not sure the texture of Dave's hand at this point, as he's going to start tapping some lands down with Port, Cradle, and Bayou among them. And Thalia is trying to get some work done here. Let's see what Malatesta is going to do on this turn. Looks like a Reclamation Sage. All right. That'll take care of a Vial, or at least try to. Shiels got a couple of cards in his hand. Yeah, so he's going to go after this Vial. Looks like Dave may have a copy of Spirit of the Labyrinth in hand. Again,
Yes.
don't have a great look at it.
Spirit of the Labyrinth is good against Glimpse.
Yep.
Good against Elvish Visionary.
Yep. Dave is going to bounce his die with Caracas, then put it back through the Vial, basically giving it Vigilance. Malatesta is going to untap his Dryad Arbor, play Nettle Sentinel, pick up a Force to do so. That's all through the Quirion Ranger. Pass the turn back, so now Shiels will draw a card. He's looking for a card like Mirran Crusader to get through all this nonsense. He's going to play just a Flagstones or Trocaire and pass the turn back with some porting to have happen here. Going to go after the same 2 lands. In Malatesta's hand, you can see he's got a Forest. Looks like he picked up another copy of Reclamation Sage. He also has a Green Sun Zenith and a Crater Hoof Behemoth. Mighty powerful.
Better not let Nicholas get into his main phase with that Cradle.
Yeah. Your hope is that he never draws another Cradle either to replace that one.
Yep.
Attention Magic players. The altars
Here's a Zenith.
early altars are going on sale. Everything is $5 off the marked price.
There's an Elvish Visionary. So now Malatesta's going to get this ball rolling. This is the card drawing engine of the deck. This will work his way into a Cradle or a Natural Order.
And David cannot commit the Spirit of the Labyrinth to the table to shut this off because Nicholas has the ability to just bounce and recast a Reclamation Sage.
Yep. And that's a turn. Shiels is going to untap and draw. Again, looking for a card like Mirran Crusader to work his way through this. Flicker Wisp would work too. I'm not sure what the draw. Why do I think he just drew Magus of the Moat?
Hopefully we'll find out.
No way. Okay. All right. Magus of the Moat, huh?
All right.
Is that the old hard lockaroo?
Well,
Creatures without flying can't attack?
We'll have to go to the tape here. Yes, I think.
It takes Deathrite Shaman activations.
Yeah, Deathrite
now.
Shaman activations.
Well.
And regular old Moat wouldn't get it done because someone's got a Reclamation Sage.
Absolutely. Well, isn't this a delight? Magus of the Moat from Shiels. Here's a Heritage Druid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now, and I don't really see a way to get this thing off the table.
Now, creatures without flying can't attack. That's symmetrical.
Yep, but someone came equipped with Sarah Avengers and
Ooh.
Flicker Wisps.
You know what that is?
Good deck building.
That's good deck building right there. That's what that is.
Talking about the Treasure Cruise metagame adaptation, talked a little bit about, is Spirit in the Labyrinth going to show up in people's main deck? Dave is playing 3 main deck copies.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's committed.
He has no interest in losing to that, that's for sure. That is very telling.
Magus of the Moat.
That's legacy through and through, right?
Yep.
Oh, what can you do? I'm eventually just going to get my thing going. I'm going to get my card drawing engine online. I'll find a Cradle eventually and Behemoth you, or will you?
And Nicholas found Natural Order the turn previous.
Wow.
So this would have just been game over.
Yeah. And Malatesta is, he's kind of doing his thing. He also, the Progenitors that he drew doesn't really matter now because, well, that doesn't fly. So as great as Progenitors is, having protection from everything, Malatesta is going to do a bunch of stuff here. He's going to draw a bunch of cards and do his thing. But I think it requires him to find Deathrite Shamans and a whole lot of activations. And of course, he wants to make sure he doesn't get too sloppy with any of this stuff, but he's going to draw some cards here.
Yeah, I'm double checking here in case there's anything that I'm missing, but I just don't think he can break out of this.
So what it looks like now is it's on Shiels to find just a flyer to get the job done.
Yeah, and he's going to have a lot of time to do it too.
Yeah. Shiels will draw a card. Didn't get a great look. I think it may have been a copy of Source of Plowshares.
Maybe Grafdigger's Cage?
Potentially, doesn't do a lot. And I don't really think either card really matters all that much in this situation.
No, this is Right now, Dave's just going to sit here, keep his fingers crossed, and hope that Nicholas can't break out of this.
Yeah. He'll keep porting, he'll port a Cradle, port a Bayou, tap some lands, all that good stuff. Malatesta draws another copy of Green Sun Zenith. He's going to generate 3 green. He's going to just try to work his way through his deck to get to Death Rights, I imagine. Again, from our look here in the booth, doesn't look like Mr. Malatesta really has an out to the situation, because Abrupt Decay doesn't even do it.
No.
4 mana spell. Not only Abrupt Decay plays the role of problem solver in this situation. Draw a bunch of cards, live in the dream, look at my Elves deck. Another card, sure. Nettle Sentinel, yeah. Give me another card. Cast a Glimpse. Malatesta gonna tap his Dryad Arbor for some mana. Here's 3 more green mana. It's a Heritage Druid. In situations like this, as another Glimpse is added to the grip, if you're Shiels, you're just kind of thinking, okay, well, I hope he doesn't have a way to kill this, because he's still playing.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, if you draw a card like that, a lot of players would just go, all right, you win. I can't believe that you drew this and I lose, but that's the case. For Malatesta, he is trying to get through his deck pretty quickly, which leads you to believe that he does have it out in this situation. There's the Zenith. Shield says, yeah, you got a bunch of mana floating, that's fine. Got to pay 1 more because there's a Thalia in play, but there's a Birchlore Ranger. So Malatesta wants even more mana.
Someone over here trying to cast a Progenitus.
Feel free.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like he's going to discard Progenitus. Going to take a little look-ski-poo here, how the trigger works. So they will, it should just get shuffled back in. Yeah, if it were put into the graveyard from anywhere, reveal Progenitus and shuffle it into its owner's library. So yeah, that just gets shuffled back in. It's not like the Eldrazi where you shuffle the whole graveyard back in. Shield draws a copy of Aether Vial. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the Grafdigger's Cage that Dave did draw last turn, well, Nick has Restoration, or Reclamation Sage, excuse me.
Yeah, the artifacts and enchantments that Dave has are just non-starters.
They don't do anything. They're all going to die. Nick has plenty of mana and plenty of ways to return Reclamation Sage, which is an elf, back to the grip. Wooded Foothills to draw. 3. See how much green he wants to tap for. Again, it feels as though he's got some sort of plan here. Natural Order. Let's go digging. Get a Progenitus. Sure.
Yep.
That resolves. Shields will draw a copy of Aether Vial. Shields draws are kind of hilarious at this point.
Yep. Most of them do nothing.
Yeah, I think Nick might think that works, but yeah, so there's
Halt.
So there's the Magus. Yeah. First I'm gonna tap your lands in your upkeep, but there's also a Magus of the Moat in play. Yep, nope. Dave says, okay, yeah, protection from everything. Yeah, he just taps his Magus. So about that Magus and how you can't attack. And this is what I thought was going to happen, right? Where he's playing on, he's like, yes, we got Progenitus in play, and it's Progenitus, so who can beat a Progenitus? And it's like, well, you can't do anything. Shields is going to win game number 2, and they're going to head to a third one here in just a second.
It has protection from everything.
It does.
It doesn't quite work that way.
Yeah. And let's see Dave with a deep breath. The timely Magus of the Moat. So we'll take a look at the sideboards here. Again, from Malatesta, his sideboard, he's got a Gag Teeg, a Malaria Sylvank Outcast, a Natural Order, a Reclamation Sage to go on with the first one in his main deck, 2 Abrupt Decays, a Progenitus, a Scavenging Ooze, 4 Therapies, a Surgical Extraction, and 2 copies of Thoughtseize. What you'll find here is in the sideboard, no way to get maximum off the table.
Maybe he has to bring in some copies of Thoughtseize, which is normally not good in this matchup, out of respect for Magus. Also, he could just try to kill really quickly.
Yep. And I think that's the actual plan.
On the other side here, Dave with a Batterskull, a Manriki Kasari, 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Pithy Needle, 2 Cataclysm, a Magus of the Moat, 3 Core Firewalker. What a hater. 2 Grab Digger's Cage, 1 Council's Judgment. I like the 2 Grab Digger's Cage to stop Green Sun Zenith and Natural Order. I think the Needles are reasonable. There's a lot of L's with activated powers, and of course, Magus of the Moat, very challenging for Nicholas to beat.
The core Firewalkers are nice. Come and get you some of that, Patrick.
Hater.
You see the clock. We got about 2 minutes left in the round. So, tick-tock, it goes to the clock. Both these players are going to have to speed up. The issue here, number 1, is that Dave is a pretty slow player. Number 2 is that I don't think that Dave can actually win the game in this amount of time, but Nicholas certainly can.
With untimed turns? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He can certainly win the game this amount of time. So this could get a little ugly. See, Windswept Heath going to get sacrificed. Looks like he's going to Zenith, too. So there's a Forest. Zenith for 0 will get the Arbor, and he's accelerating very nicely to start things off. Shiels will draw a card. You can see he's got at least 1 basic Plains over there. Wasteland as well. Caracas 2. See if you can find that Magus in the mode again. It looks like Dave is probably trying to play for the draw here, while Malatesta, is playing for the W.
It's really unlikely for Dave to be able to win, so I think you're going to see as much of a defensive game as he can muster.
Yeah.
A little surprised to see him just not fire off the Wasteland there, unless this curve allows him to protect himself or, defend himself a little bit more efficiently down the line.
It wouldn't surprise me if he starts with Vial to get the curve rolling, and then I think he has a Source of Plowshares in his hand, so his next turn can be Wasteland, like your land, and Source something.
Yep.
And then that's a pretty, while Vial's still working its way up.
Yep.
That's pretty good. So it looks like that might be the direction that he's headed. There's a Visionary.
Pretty good opening here from...
His draw is great. He's going to untap the Arbor. Pretty good draw.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Wirewood. Pass the turn back.
Pretty good second turn.
Yeah. Well, Shields got a pretty good second turn lined up, too. I mean, he can put him down to 1 mana if he wants. He can Swords the Dryad Arbor and then Wasteland the Cradle. That's pretty good.
Well, it is good. You're crossing your fingers and hoping that Nicholas has no more mana.
Of course.
But it's something. It's something.
There's time right now. So Dave will be turns 0, 2, and 4. Nick will be turns 1, 3, and 5. Dave going to go reaching here. It will be a Swords. Just deciding what to target. Going to go into Dryad Arbor. Going to Wasteland the Cradle. Pass the turn back. While this file works its way up. Turn number 1 here. Bayou the draw. I think it's really important to slow down the interactions with the deck there. Cradle's going to generate way too much mana, and then he can untap Dryad Arbor and generate more mana.
Sure, he's got to keep him pinned on mana. That's all he can do.
Red Zone in for 2. That's turn 1. This will be turn number 2. Shields. Got to play a Stoneforge Mystic. He's just got to hold on for 2 more turns. Whatever it takes. The scary thing is that the Elves deck can kill you on turn 5. It's very realistic with Craterhoof.
Even on this base, it's not impossible to get it done.
Yep. 1 Cradle comes rolling off the top of the deck. Now, Craterhoof is in Malatesta's hand right now, though he does have 2 in his main deck. So let's see what happens here. Looks like Birchlore Ranger, perhaps. Actually going to be a Nettle Sentinel. And now a Birchlore Ranger. Looks like we're at a little mana here. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see. Pick this up.
Yeah, he gets 2 mana this way. He can pick up his Visionary and cast it.
And he gets to untap his Nettle Sentinel. Looks like he might have a Vial activation here somewhere. David Lee's considering that. He might have a copy of Spirit of the Labyrinth in his hand.
Looks like it's Phyrexian Revoker.
Aha!
Remaining to sign up for our 3 p.m. standard open trial.
There is the Revoker.
Swiss tournament with a $10 entry fee and prize.
That's why Death and Taxes, its goal is just to make it so that you don't get to do your stuff.
Keep you pinned on resources.
Yeah. Your deck does a lot of awesome things. I don't want you to do your stuff.
Thalias, Revokers, Wastelands, Ports. The thing is, that mixture of cards is disruptive against all sorts of decks. Elves, not really that high on the list. The Revokers matter a little bit, but Thalia, not that significant. Land destruction elements don't matter that much, although it's nice to keep the Cradle pinned.
Revoker's going to name Virtual Ranger. Again, the goal here is just to slow you down. Don't let you do your stuff. And so back to Shields we go for turn number 4. Shields will draw a card. Copy of Aven Mind Sensor, another card that won't let you do your stuff. There's Caracas. I think this is actually a really interesting game because by and large, this matchup is really bad for Death and Taxes. The way that Dave's draw has lined up, I actually think it's realistic that he would win this game.
I think so too.
If there were enough time. Here's a Graph Digger's Cage, another card that won't let Nick do his stuff. So here's turn 5, so there's no chance that Dave gets natural ordered out anymore because Cage is in play.
So it's basically...
There's a Heritage Druid.
Cradle and cast the hoof is, I think, where we're at.
There's an Elvish Visionary. 1 green mana floating. If he actually peeled Cradle off, I think he can win. Oh my God.
So that's 6, 7.
He has a mana floating.
And a mana floating.
And he hasn't used either Wirewood yet this turn either. So he's going to return an Elf with Wirewood. Really want to make sure you don't get this wrong.
Right. And Summoning Sickness now becomes a factor too.
Yep.
Although he's likely to be over by quite a bit.
Return and untap. Replay. No mana floating. Cradle. 6. 9. Behemoth. Nettle Sentinel will untap as long as he does remember the trigger.
Yeah, it is.
Not that he actually needs it. I don't think, and that is going to do it. A peeled Cradle on turn 5 by Nicholas Malatesta. And he defeats David Shiels 2-1. And a deep sigh of relief for him. That was about as close as you can get to a draw. I thought it was going to be a draw.
And I think that might have been his last look at it, too. I don't think he had the mana left over to pick up a Visionary again and be able to cast it. I don't think he could Reclamation Sage, the Graph Digger's Cage, in the natural order. I think it was Cradle on that draw or bust.